We are.
All right, cosmic babes and sacred rebels.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome back to another Feel Good Wednesday. Oh, that is so much better.
Feel Good Wednesday.
So last week we tried to dive into the language of the universe, and Tech decided to speak static instead.
Last week or the week before? Week before.
Oh shoot, yeah, that's right. Last week was the Guru Jagat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the week before that. But tonight we're back together and ready for take 2.
Where's my notification for the live? I want in on this action.
So I know tonight's topic might feel new to some, big, maybe even a little bit confusing, and that is okay. You don't have to get it all right away. Just bring your curiosity, let your mind wander, and your questions rise up. And we'll pause for comments. So if you have questions, leave them in the comments, and towards the end, we'll stop and we'll read all the comments.
Hi, Bryson.
Welcome, welcome. So tonight we're joined by my co-host, Brayden, and the radiant force of sacred wisdom herself, April Dawn.
Hi, everybody.
So get cozy, maybe grab a journal, and let's get into it.
Do the things.
So for those who are just hearing about sacred geometry,
Does Bryson want to join via the phone thingamajiggers before we get started? Because he did mention that. Bryson, if you're still watching, would you like to join the live?
you can request to join. There's just a little button at the bottom. Request to join if you want to jump in. If not, no pressure, man.
Oh, is that it?
Nope, it says slow connection.
Oh dear.
In a moment, he says.
Okay, right on. Oh, we'll watch for you.
So for those who are just hearing about sacred geometry, why should they care? And what does this do for a person's spiritual or physical life?
Well, that's a really good question, Whitney. Sacred geometry is the visual representation of the vibrational frequency of everything that is around us. And so when you listen to music, if you actually put that music or that frequency through a medium such as sand or water, you would be able to see the images made by that vibration. And everything vibrates. All of our cells are vibrating. This table's vibrating. You're vibrating. You're vibrating. And so our form is actually the visual representation of that. And our forms follow all kinds of patterns of sacred geometry. Like the Fibonacci sequence can be found in the body, like your finger. If you divide the first digit by the entirety of your finger, that is 1.1618, so on and so forth, which is the ratio you get from the Fibonacci sequence. And that is the same with your whole arm. That is the same with your whole body. That is the same with the distance between your eyes and all of them.
That showed up in the Silent Witch.
Yes. In the anime that we were watching the other day. Yeah.
This lady just started gushing. She's all about numbers. She started gushing about how this person that she saw was the golden ratio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
That's
it
what it
all
was. Yeah.
Mapped out on
He was the most beautiful person because he was just
so proportionately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vitruvian Man.
The Vitruvian.
Is Da Vinci's image of the naked man with the arms in the circle and square. And that shows the divine proportions along the
that's what you drew.
Fibonacci sequence. Yep. And Da Vinci and Botticelli and Michelangelo, they all used the golden ratio. And that's part of what makes their paintings still relevant today is the golden ratio in all of it, in the composition of even the landscapes.
And it's like, that's something to the eye, I bet, that we're not even aware of. It's just pleasing to the eye to see the golden ratio. We may not recognize it as such, but maybe that's where we find that whole feeling of profound beauty.
Well, it's in It's in everything from the center of a sunflower, which is 2 phi spirals overlapped with each other, from the way a plant grows, where it comes up from 1 seed to 1 shoot to 2 leaves to 3 leaves to 5 leaves to 8 leaves, 13. This is the Fibonacci sequence. There are some plants that even just look straight up like sacred geometry. So the natural world has many examples.
Tasty.
Post previously on it. I think I shared some of the ones in nature.
Awesome. Yeah, and you said, what does this do to your spiritual journey and the physical? Well, anytime that we become aware of a pattern, we can use it in a different way. As long as we're not aware of the pattern, we're just going on autopilot kind of. But with your spiritual journey, if you recognize the patterns, not only in the geometries around you, but in the sounds and the experiences as well, we can grow from it.
Continue. Recognize the pattern and you know where to break it or evolve from it. However you like to look at it, depending on what it is that you're scoping in on, if you will.
Well, there's patterns all over. All over. So if we are noticing the patterns and we remember that that is a part of sacred geometry.
Yeah. And while we're on this topic, one of my favorite one of my very favorite patterns in literature and movies too is the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is intrinsic in all of us. It's what the tarot is based off of. It's what every movie and book and story is based off of.
The Odyssey was where I was introduced to that.
Yeah.
And how it relates to all the other books and stuff.
Yeah, so that's like an experiential pattern that we're all really familiar with, whether we know it or not.
I feel like I can relate, but like mine was just like all the fantasy books and watching.
I mean, yeah.
Watching. Well, you know what was really cool about it though was like not only are you watching main character patterns and how they're doing life, but there are some sub characters that stick out in a certain way to you that you can super relate to. And then when you get to watch their growth, you're like, oh man, I could do that too. Like I had that same thing going on. And I don't know, there was like a certain kind of beauty in it.
You can recognize how it relates to your life and your little hero's journey.
Yeah, and you know, like I was telling you guys out there, I really like to get lost in the patterns while I'm thinking about or contemplating life. You know, as you start watching patterns, your brain starts thinking in patterns, and then it like unlocks a way that gives you pattern recognition with the thing that you're working through. And yeah, I don't know. It's like it feels like a kind of like a self-hypnotism, if you will.
Bryson has sent the request.
Let's see this.
Come on, Bryson.
And wham! Oh.
I don't see a request. You request to join? Oh.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay. Welcome to the discussion of sacred geometry.
Yeah. I love the Fibonacci sequence that we were talking about earlier, and I wanted to chime in because I love the nickname for it too. It's called the thumbprint of God because it's just everywhere. And also, yeah, we're all cosmic dildos because we're all vibrating.
Yeah.
Found in the forest of the world.
Here, your guys' audio is kind of chopping up. I'm going to go to audio only here. Let's see if that helps.
All right, that's very quiet.
I am very quiet. All right. Hey, do you have another, what you call it?
Do you want mine?
Yeah. Yeah. Hello, beautiful people.
What was the moment that sacred geometry clicked for you?
Well, there was many little knocks on the door, if you will, before it clicked. The very first one that I recall was the Da Vinci Code book by Dan Brown, and then my parents bought me this Da Vinci game for my birthday that year. And it was the flower-like pattern with these wooden pieces, and you have to like two colors and raise to make the full picture. But I never really used it as the game. I would just make art with it. And then I flew to Toronto with my tattoo teacher, and we got our palms tattooed. And the artist who did it, Reverend Matthew Ellis out of Toronto, Canada, he gave me the books, The Ancient Secret of Flower Life. Ooh. Yeah, by Drenvala Melchizedek. And those two books, Volume 1 and Volume 2, share absolutely everything from like every culture around the world, from recorded human history and beyond, and everything that they relate to, pertain to, is fascinating. He includes in there at the end meditation called the Merkaba meditation, activating the field of light that's around all of us. Which it forms star tetrahedron, which is like two pyramids interlocking and spinning, which create a toroidal field. There was another book called The Beginner's Guide to Constructing the Universe, and that one is by Michael S. Schneider, and it's like a textbook. It's got amazing illustrations, and you follow each one of the numbers, 1 through 9, and 0 is like the ethereal liminal space, before everything. 1 is monad or singularity.
I'm going to jump in real quick. This is the toroidal field. Oh my gosh, look at that glare. Can you see the circle? Boom. All right, the toroidal field that we were talking about. Energy goes up through the top as well as out through the bottom, around itself, and then back through like a ginormous donut of energy. All right.
Yeah.
Annie Juan, back to the numbers.
Thank you, Brandon. So 1 is a singularity, 2 is duality, 3 is trinity or a triangle, which we know is the strongest shape. Nikola Tesla, he said, understand 3, 6, and 9, and you will understand the universe. And so those are very important numbers, structural numbers.
In terms of vibration, frequency, or vibration and frequency. Like,
So much more.
like that's like
Yeah. 4 is foundational. Like we have, 4 wheels on a car or 4 corners to a room. It's like very structural, foundational stability. 5 is regeneration, just like a starfish. We'll lose 1 limb and grow it back. These also correspond to the chakras. And so 5 being the throat chakra is more of like this expressive, regenerative sort of thing. 6 is, yeah, 6 is another very structural, foundational one. And then 7 is the completion, or the perfect number. Even in the Bible, they call it like perfect number, and they'll reference like 7 churches, which means all of the churches. And that goes directly into the seed of life, which has 7 circles. Visible.
Wait, do you have that one on here?
Yes, seed of life. No, I sent it to you. Over here. So we can just pull up the flower life, and the like center one's the seed of life. Yeah.
The center one, like.
So this one and the next row.
Yeah, I know. But you point that out for people who have never seen it. It's kind of comical. All right. Anyway, guys, this one is the what did we say this was? The seed of life.
This is the flower of life,
Flower
but you're
of
going to
life.
point out the seed of life.
No, I'm absolutely not. I'm not gonna do it. All right, guys, look at the first spoke that we got right here. That one. Yep. Wait, hold on. I'm explaining it. You said I had to. Yep, that's right. Jumping in. All right. So we got one spoke wheel, and then all the other spoke wheels that go around that first spoke wheel. That little spot right in the middle is going to be your, oh, geez, you guys can't even see. It's going to be your seed of life. So one more time. This circle and all the little circles around it are going to be the seed of life. The second set of circles is what makes the flower of life. Boom.
Woo! Wonderful explanation. Well, guys, explain it differently, and it's funny and beautiful.
There's so many ways.
So many ways.
So in the ancient secret of the flower of life, Drunvalo makes a comment that there's 99 ways to meditate like a man.
Yeah.
And I can read all about that and follow it to a T. And there's one way to meditate like a woman, and that's just whatever comes.
Whatever.
You know, I think it's wild to ask people like, how is your internal monologue come to you? Does it come through colors? Is it a voice? Is it a narrator? Is it a different voice than your own voice that you hear in your head? Some people don't even have an inner monologue, which is wild.
Well, visuals. I can create visuals. I can see in visuals. And I can hear auditory sounds, but I do not have like a voice. That doesn't exist.
So in another one of my very first books that set me on my spiritual journey was A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And that book is incredible, but it talks about being in the moment and reducing that monkey mind. And so a lot of people struggle with meditation and whatnot because they can't get their thoughts to stop going. But the thoughts are actually part of the meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And once you let them run their course, you come to this liminal space, which is where you can create your visuals and allow messages to come through.
Bryson said it reminds him of connecting eyes. Always been fascinated with these concepts through art.
Yeah.
Balls on top of eyeballs. I can like see a Metatron cube full of eyeballs.
I think he was talking about the flower of life.
Yeah,
That too.
you can even color in the dots, and it does look like a bunch of eyes. I've done that tattoo before.
I've done that tattoo.
There's Rick.
Hello, Rick.
Pocket somewhere.
Here.
Maybe, possibly.
I whisper sweet nothing. Oh, I mean, sorry. We gotta say that.
To put some bunny ears on Braden's head, we could like do that on a TikTok live.
So.
Mr. Rabbit Hole over here. It's good though. It keeps the discussion going.
Yeah. And the next thing on my list there that goes right into all of that is that all of these symbols are 2D representations of 3D concepts.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are 2D representations of 3D concepts
And beyond.
So, for example, we have the two-dimensional version of the yin and yang, right? Beautiful. Okay, we've seen it. We know what it is. But now, right, we get to see a 3D version of this same symbol. And just take a moment to really look at that and appreciate what it is. And you get to see your toroidal field overlapping the yin and yang, and it brings a full-on 3D image of what sacred geometry actually gets to look like. Shablam.
Yeah. There's also another one would be that. And
That would be the correlation to that one and that one. No, but I picked all the pictures.
Yeah, here, just give it to me. Or Google.
I'm only a little bit technically in it, but you know it gets better.
Wormhole to the souls.
Yeah, join the audio. I don't know how to do that, but make the request. I'll push the buttons. Oh, let's see what happens. I don't see where we can like do the things. What do I pick, Whitney?
If he sent a request, it should just pop up.
I'm sitting and I'm waiting. Bring them on camera. Who are we bringing on camera?
It's not a request. You can send them a request if they want.
I don't know how to do that. Hi, Brittany and Andrea and Charlie. How you doing? Who's that?
You won. That's the.
Two. All right, round two, guys.
This is the 64 tetrahedron grid, which is the flower of life with all, and Metatron's cube with all of the lines drawn through it instead of the circles.
All right, here we go. And then Bryson, we will figure out whether you are joining and how we're making that happen. Any fun. So we have the two-dimensional representation of what was this one again?
Grid.
64 tetrahedron grid. That's a mouthful. I love it. All right, and then here is the same 64 tetrahedron what? Grid. One word off. And this is the 3D representation of what we just got done looking at. And then, like, you just take one of these pictures, guys, and stare at it. Stare at it, meditate, let the shapes change and morph in front of your eyes, and just see what happens. You'd be amazed at what kind of things, whether from the shapes that you're seeing or just the thoughts that you're having. It's profound.
And one of the best ways to meditate with these shapes is to draw them. And so all you need is a compass or other little pencil makers.
Protractor.
Yeah.
Protractor.
Protractor.
Yeah.
Take us back to elementary school.
Is that the one thing that like has the gears?
And you put the pencil in it and you put.
So that's called the compass. The protractor is the plastic half circle that goes with the.
Oh, yeah. And I'm over here thinking about the little, I'm thinking about the little, seen on TV,
Oh, the little thing.
late night, what you call it. It's got like a big circle and you have a bunch of littler gears and you have different spots where you can put the pen and then you just press the circle.
That's called inspire.
Oh, yes. See?
Yeah.
We're learning. We're-
This is my wife.
We got you guys.
You know, the doohickey that does the things, the big pictures.
Oh, one of my favorite drawing exercises with the Seed of Life was at meditation group up at the college, and we had hula hoops and chalk, and we did massive flower of life, seed of life.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple people. Somebody
Yeah.
to hold the hula hoop still.
Mm-hmm.
A couple people probably have.
Yeah, no tape. Just hold it. It's not as hard as you think. Like, even my kiddo was doing it at like 6 years old.
Oh, here you go, guys. If you say you can't do it.
I mean, obviously, you're gonna like need some practice.
If I ever played Hubert, but I know only because of Pixel. That's the only reason. Bryson, I don't know if you attempted to join via audio, but that's just, I'm an ass. So I'm just throwing it out there. If you want to try, awesome. If not, I've done my due diligence. I
Yeah,
appreciate you
nothing
being here.
Then try the video or.
Yes, it did. But she doesn't have.
Let's hear it for technology.
Oh. Says couldn't add guest. Technical difficulty.
Said he just requested again. Third time's the charm. Bear with us, guys. Okay.
Technical difficulty.
Technical difficulties. All right.
Sorry, Bryson.
Mm-hmm.
I just heard the noise of, forcing the music.
So what makes sacred geometry more than just cool patterns? What makes it alive?
Well, everything in nature. For example, the carbon chains and the hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen chains all form hexagons. And that's the building blocks.
Hexagons.
That's the building blocks of us.
That makes
The
sense.
seed of life and Metatron's cube.
And we're made up of these shapes.
Well, and
Yes. And we actually start forming that way when we're in the womb, create that pattern.
so then, like, if you think about it, so if you wanted to go from like an energetic standpoint, the Earth is giving off a frequency of growth, and that frequency of growth is realized through how nature is formed, from the way that the trees are displayed or displaced from each other to like the seeds on a sunflower, right? Like it all has pattern. And then we follow suit with that pattern. And then we get to go back. This is why they say if you spend a year in the jungle by yourself, you're going to come out like a person. Because nature is there to show us the patterns of the way life exists, both in their actions through habitat to just the way that things are growing or simply being. Opens way for you to have more understanding in your life because you're seeing it unfold in front of you. That's why we check out and go to the woods, ground, back to nature. It's not just I gotta get away from the city life. It's I gotta get back, and being able to see all of that visually, whether you recognize it or not, is what's helping you reset and recalibrate to be able to take on that city life in that next 3 days.
And Bryson said, I just wanted to add that I feel like I've been painting sacred geometry before I even understood what it was. Arrows, triangles, eyes. Absolutely. Me too, Bryson. Yes.
Same. Yeah, like when I look back at all my little doodles back in high school.
Yeah, there's the cellular division and how it relates to the flower of life. Yeah, and another profound one is the honeycombs. There's a picture on there. But yeah, bees are an amazing example of sacred geometry. And I think I mentioned this in the last live, but their wings actually have geometric patterns that keep them flying because their body proportion is too big for their wing proportion for it to like make sense to a physical standpoint. But it's the geometry and frequency that lets them fly.
Yeah, the vibrational frequency. It's a wild thing. And then you think about it, like actually, there was a guy who created the first levitation device. He did it using the same structure that the bees would use in order to make it be able to do the propelling rhythm motion.
Yeah, there's a cool video online too.
No, you're fine. I don't even remember. But it's at some point.
There's a really cool video where they levitate a droplet of water with resonance and creates all these different patterns. Andrea, if you're watching this on replay, touch us.
How fun.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
When you change the frequency, it changes the amount of points the shape has.
Andrea, on your rewatch, share the tattoo.
Yeah, throw it in the comments.
Yeah.
I want to see this.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And so everything in our reality is duality. And so the Vesica Pisces, which is the beginning of the whole flower of life shape, is two overlapping circles, just like a Venn diagram. And that represents the two spheres of awareness or the two dualities. And so that can be day and night, dark and light. And that's the seed of life. So
There's your seed of life.
right in the center, you actually have
The one leg of
Vesica Pisces.
yeah, the Vesica Pisces is just two thing, and then it keeps doing that over and over again.
overlapping itself.
Yep.
Like a spiral. How fun. You know, I'm not lost on the irony of having to show all these sacred geometry symbols inside of a circle of light. So here,
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and so while we're sharing photos, do you want to do the Metatron's cube then as well? So Metatron's cube is where you take the flower of life, which is actually a 2D symbol that they use to encode this information and not let it out to the public. But when you expand beyond that and you finish the last circles, instead of cutting them off, you find Metatron's cube, which is the more holistic version of that. And you can see a lot more. That one. And then the other light activated one that you.
That's the Metatron's cube.
That Metatron's cube, and then this is the one. There's the one with the flower of life under the one. There's the light. Yeah, that's one.
That's pretty. Yes.
Yeah. So you can really see Merkaba in the center of that Metatron's cube with those circles on the edges and different types of flower.
How fun. That one would be a fun one to just get lost in. Right? Alright.
Thank you, Vicky.
You should show them the shape of the cup.
Yes. Merkaba. So,
It's the other. There it is.
no, that's tree life. Tree life will be on the bottom.
Oh, I don't
So there it is.
know.
So that's a good one to start with. The 2D representation of the Merkaba, which is the field of energy around each living thing. You and me and Whitney and the plants and the dogs and the trees and the crystals. And here's the orientation around the human body for men. And obviously that's not set in stone. If you're somewhere in between. Choose between the two of them. But this is generally the way it sits around the body. Yeah, and so when that Merkaba spins, it creates that toroidal field, which takes us back to the beginning. There's toroidal field image.
The donut.
The donut. So like the magnetic lines, that one. Yeah, that's perfect. That's around the human body. But you can imagine this around anything, including the earth. And we learned about it in school as the magnetic lines, the magnetic strips. And that's what our blood platelets look like. That's what apples look like, and oranges, and all fruit, and tons of vegetables. They form the same shape.
Because we're following up after the frequency of the earth.
Yeah, and so that actually takes me to fractals, which are amazing because they are any piece that it represents the whole. And so the seed of life, flower of life, fractals of each other. The idea of blood platelets looking the same as the entire magnetosphere of the earth, that's fractals. The spiral shape. Yeah, want to pull one of those up? Like, that's a good one. There's a vegetable called Romanesco, which is an amazing version of fractals in nature. It's like a broccoli. Romanesco, yeah. It tastes kind of like a cross between broccoli and cauliflower, but it is fractal broccoli. That's what my cousin called it.
Oh, broccoli.
So I guess this is all part of answering, like, how is sacred geometry alive?
It's alive in us.
Everything, the foods that we eat, and even the thoughts we think put out a frequency, and so they're making geometry.
And the words that you speak, because it's a literal vibration.
That rolls into my next question. Have you ever had a physical or emotional reaction to sacred geometry?
Oh, never.
Never?
Just kidding. I'm having one right now.
Amazing. Physical reaction.
No, absolutely. So many, even in the tattoos that I have on my body. I have the flower life on both arms, and I've had it for a very long time, since I was about 21, 37 now. And I've had people on the street randomly come up and point at them and start a whole conversation. One of the coolest ones is I got tattooed in Hawaii, and I was waiting outside the tattoo shop for my cab to come. Yeah, that's how old I am. It was a cab, not an Uber. And it was these three Samoan guys standing outside, and they looked scary. They were all tatted up, and guy comes up and he's like, "Oh, I know what that is," and he starts drawing the Merkaba in the dust on the car and talking about sacred geometry a mile a minute. I happened to have a rose quartz pendulum that was a Merkaba in my purse, so pink star-shaped crystal on chain, and the guy's just like, "Oh my god, yes!" He grabs it, and he starts dancing with it over his head. Big tatted up Samoan guys just having fun with his life. And he walks up to me and gets like 6 inches away from my face. Pulls up his sunglasses, and he was missing an eye. And I did not break stride at all. I just kept the conversation with him. And after about 60 seconds, he puts the shades down and he smiles. And he handed me a bud of Maui Wowie and a dictionary on Hawaiian, illustrated dictionary on Hawaiian. And it was one of the most inspirational experiences of like, don't judge a book by its cover. Like, let these experiences happen. And that was something that stuck with me for over a decade now. Is like that experience.
That's beautiful.
Like busted out
Holy
image.
So countless experiences like that. I have been a tattoo artist for 17 years, and I've done so much sacred geometry.
I do love that line art tattoo.
It's so crazy after sitting with the image for 3, 4, 5, 8, 12 hours. You see other patterns come out of it. You see the lines differently, you see the circles differently, you see how they connect differently. And
it like makes infinite shapes. You can literally see like the flower of life is an apt name for it, because I just like, is there anything you can't see in it if you stare long enough?
it's blossoming.
Is that like your own form of meditation when you're drawing those?
Oh, you have to be in a flow state for sure. Yeah.
Those are intricate.
Yeah. And when I've done cover up of a cover up with sacred geometry that's multiple layers, it's like you're dealing with 4 different layers on one layer of skin. And yeah, it can get
Covered
complicated.
with sacred geometry. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Making a cross-eyed.
Yeah, I have gone cross-eyed from it. Yeah, you can just eye exercise.
No, I think they're stuck.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I don't need glasses yet.
I keep denying too.
I've got con.
Do we want to talk about the yin and yang, since we're talking about this duality?
Tell us about the yin and yang, April.
Yeah, so a lot of people are very familiar with the symbol. Yin is like the night, feminine. The yang is like the day and the masculine, if you want to put it in terms. But it's actually the two together that make the whole image. So it's a trinity in a way, even though it represents.
Oh, I flipped it again.
Because you have the in-between.
Yeah. And like there's actually 3 sides to a coin. So then there's that one, which is the 3D representation of the Torah, the flower of life, on the yin and yang. Because the yin and yang is a 2D symbol that represents the toroidal field. And you can see the 2 vortex points, or the 2 openings on the either side of the vortex point in the middle, that show that image.
And it's almost like the yin and yang show you the flow of the energy as it's coming out of the So not only is it going up and down, but there's a spinning motion to it. Hence why you have Tesla coils that are supposed to be at a certain degree while being wrapped around themselves to be able to make for maximum efficiency with energy flow without loss of that energy dissipation of it.
Nikola Tesla understood this better than most people, for sure. So yeah, that sums up that kind of geometry. One thing I wanted to mention too is like the Vesica Pisces is also where they get the Jesus fish from. If you look at it, it creates that Jesus fish shape as well.
Yeah,
And it's funny, it's
The
the
basic fish.
Pisces. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, there's dozens of rabbit holes we can go down with those kind of things. But
See where it's showing up in our history and what way.
yeah, I wanted to talk about the Cathara grid as well. You mentioned last time we were getting cut off by the train. But the Cathara grid is an 8-pointed shape. And you might find once you delve into sacred geometry, some people talking about, oh, the flower of life is the daisy of death, or, it's not the complete picture. And I really sat with that for a lot of years of like, oh, like, what does this mean? And what is the Cathara grid versus the flower of life? Well, what I came to was that the Cathara grid shows cellular division, not the cellular division we looked at before, but the mitosis of 2 into 4 into 8 into 16 and into 32 and so on and so forth. Whereas the flower of life is more of the evolution of consciousness, of awareness. You have 2 spheres of awareness that overlap, and then it goes from there. So, yeah, the 2 of them together create a more full picture. And I think that it's another division tactic to keep people from coming together on the knowledge.
Stepping into their own power. As you start to get into sacred geometry, start looking at it, start having understandings. Like, I kid you not, when I say patterns is where it's at, guys. Like, pattern recognition is a very useful tool, skill set in your life. And it's like the basis of everything. You start to understand yourself more and where you're at, how to hold yourself accountable, how to be able to take the next step through pattern recognition. And like, that is a really powerful step into your own authenticity. So like, it's wild to think where you find information to help you on your path of life. That's why it's about being curious. That's why it's about searching and finding the right holes. I just recently discovered flow toys. And flow toys are changing. Like, it just helps me relate in such a different way. It's just from moving your body differently from the norm of what you're doing on a daily basis. So, inspiration strikes in the most unlikeliest of areas, and this is why we like to cover all these different kinds of topics as we move along in our self-discovery and journey. We still have more. It's hard to hear. It's this thing. No, I'm sorry, guys. I talk really soft. I'm working on it. I'm not great at projecting my voice. But yeah. So is this better, Lisa? Can you hear me better? Or are you having a hard time hearing all? Hello, Camilla. If you're still watching.
Here's your Cathara grid.
It's cutting in and out. Upside down. Are you connected to my Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Sorry about the audio, everyone.
It's because we're talking about some pretty awesome stuff.
We are vibrating.
The vibrational frequencies are off the chart. Ooh.
Yeah.
That makes me think of medieval times. Back and forth.
I could,
Or like the more ancient, I say ancient, but the older style Mexican.
yeah. And actually runes and language and architecture and Celtic knotwork, Norse knotwork, all of those, they stem from sacred geometry. And even things like the paisley pattern, come from fractals. That was the first human representation of fractal.
Seriously?
Yes.
Yeah, it does rub me weird too.
Well, and then in the early days of the computers, they came up with the Mandelbrot set, which is the most famous fractal. And they plugged in the same equation on a computer like thousands and thousands of times, and it created these patterns that look kind of organic, and they change, and you can zoom in on them exponentially. And another profound example of fractals is our veins, the capillaries in our body, and rivers and estuaries. And if you look at erosion patterns, if you look at all different kinds of, like even the leaves on trees in the veins, it's the same branching off kind of pattern.
When you get high up enough and you can see the wave moving across how it's changing.
Your Mandelbrot fractal.
Thank you, Amy.
Stuff. It is also very calming.
And so then, yeah, I can zoom in on each of those points, and it will create more little Mandelbrots as you go, but it will change the spirals. And it's actually the inside, the black part, that is the Mandelbrot, and everything else are just colors that they add on that allows to see what's going on in the positive and negative space.
That's why.
There's some really cool fractal zoom apps. If you want to play around with the zooming part of it, it's very fun.
Yeah. It's like that. It almost reminds me of the one where it's taking a picture of the person and it's just making it fall forward. And then all of a sudden, when you try to take a step, follow that same motion. I don't know how, but
This is why we got microphones for braiding.
forgot where I was.
The falling forward, you fall forward.
No, it's gone. That has something to do with the
Fractals?
sure. No, it's
Zooming
gone. It was barely there to begin with. I was probably reaching for something. It's fine. What did I do?
So yeah, I actually have the fractal Mandelbrot equation on my ankle. It's Zn plus 1 equals Zn squared plus C. And so that's the equation that they put into the computer over and over and over again to find that.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I wonder how they decided on the What?
Equations
Like,
and numbers.
I don't know enough about math to know why it's Z and why it's C. But I'm curious. I'll look it up.
Yeah. That's a whole nother life.
Right. Yeah.
Deep dive into that.
Do some trigonometry.
Yeah.
Math t-shirt.
Yeah, apparently in the spiritual community, a lot of times they call the golden ratio phi, but math teachers will call it phi.
What?
Phi, phi, pho, phum.
Right? Tomato, tomato.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Yeah, and then speaking of math and music, there's different tunings to music. So apparently back in like the 40s, they standardized all music to be 440 hertz, but 432 is actually what is resonant in the human body. A friend of mine actually brought up an interesting point recently, though, is that when you have it in that resonant frequency and you turn it up, you can boost structural integrity of buildings, like in Nikola Tesla's famous experiment. And so his theory was that they actually chose 440 so it wouldn't rattle apart concert halls and buildings.
Wild. What structurally changed where we had to change our music structure in order for us to continue to exist with what we built?
Well, four walls is not the most natural structure. Like
Nope.
you don't find that in nature.
It's supposed to be round. That is also another thing.
And so 432 hertz is one of the solfeggio frequencies, and actually they follow patterns as well. And you can look it up on YouTube or Spotify and listen to these frequencies, and that activates your cells in a different way as well. It changes the resonance of the geometry of your body just listening to them.
Down bowls.
Yeah, it's not tuning fork.
Tuning fork so bad. Why are they so expensive? I mean, I know they're worth it, but
Wow, dude, that's gonna have the body.
yeah.
They have, like healing chambers people step into, and they blast you with a certain frequency. And
I got to do a light bath, quartz crystals with filtered light through each of them to represent the different colors of the chakra. Like you would think you would be getting much receptive to these colored lights. And then she tuned in, she gave specific lights. It was like a whole body rewind.
Ooh, she said, I just got a tongue drum. I love my tongue drum. It's so fun.
Not very proficient with it, but it's fun to have.
So fun. And I play the didgeridoo and seen some profound healings with that too.
I'm a part of those.
Yeah, where it vibrates like the whole body, and even somebody that is rather closed off to the more woo-woo things, they can feel the sound vibration.
Yeah.
You know, and they can feel the light too. I mean, these are tangible ways that we.
I feel like there's some cellular memory there.
Indubitably. I mean, well, look at the fascia of the body. It holds on to all of our traumas, right? So, like, if that can hold on to past instances without us recognizing it, who knows what the body really like, stored in its memory banks, where they're located at, how to access them. And it almost feels like a tangible connection to the Akashic records if you can find it. Just another program. Tangible word. You know?
I feel like there's just something in drums or in throat singing that like just takes you back to the beginning, and you can feel it. Anybody can feel it. Thank you.
Yeah, it vibrates your whole face. Playing the didgeridoo too. I get down here and it's like, whoa.
In your face, in your
Yeah, so I think we've covered a lot here. There's also five-pointed geometry. You can have geometry with any of the number of points. But one of the most fascinating, one of my favorite, is the Venus rose. And so if you look at the path that Venus traces in the sky from Earth, it creates. Oh, she's got a tattooed on her. Go to the Andrea, which watches it on her replay. Yeah, it looks like a five-pointed star. It looks like a five-pointed rose. And it is a symbol of love. Venus is a planet of love.
Yeah, it's my ruling. I don't know how I feel about it. Very cool.
And then I got a tattoo.
Yeah, Venus is a beautiful planet, and it's the most bright star you can see in the dusk and the dawn. So if you're out right before sunset, right after sunset, or in the morning, and yeah, really, really bright star, that's Venus.
It's not a satellite.
No, it's satellite moving. Yeah, so the Venus rose. Also, nine-pointed geometry, the Enneagram. There's
The Enneagram. I used that was like big there for a little bit a few years ago. What's your Enneagram? What's your person? I'm a type 2, I'm a type 4. You sound like a type 7. I'm over it. How deep do I want to go with this? I already did the numerology, the oracle, the tarot, the astrology. And the astrology, like my cousin Charlie, I don't know if you still watch, she is odds with charts. Like, I don't even understand how she understands it all. Shit, it's like her bread and butter. Most wildly, I don't know. Yeah, and so like, she'll bust out the birth chart and she'll start telling me things about life, so on and so forth. But so hearing that we just keep having these ever evolving ways to be able to discover things. Like I just learned about the human, what is it? Human design. Thank you. It's like I see the GN at the end of the word. Human design. And that one is a fascinating one, guys. If you want a pretty good, accurate understanding of yourself, look into the human design. Find a good app that will give you explanations to your gates, your paths, so on and so forth. It's really eye-opening. Give you a lot of answers in the same way that numerology would, but in a way that like I feel you have an easier time grasping until you get more into the esoterics of spirituality.
And Andrea, when you are on your rewatch, you might want to put into the comments some of your experience with human design, because she has been working with that for many years.
Yes, I would love that. Ooh. I think your brain.
So after working with this language for nearly 2 decades, how has it changed your understanding of time, space, or self?
Yeah, that's
How has sacred geometry changed your perspective?
infinitely hard to put into words. A lot of what we experience is exactly that, time and space itself. And so it's hard to delve into these realms and remain unchanged. Yeah, there's just an infinite amount of ways that it can shift your perspective. Like, because of this, I know a lot more about even just 3 dimensions of length, width, and height, and then understand how the dimensions, like 2D is a flat surface, or like the telluric bacterial realm, and 4D is beyond length, width, and height, and that is time and concept and idea, dream.
Vastly expanded your outlook.
It's a I think the most profound thing that has happened with me with sacred geometry is my capability with the language and the way that it can be used. Words are power, and there are patterns in our language that we don't even recognize that are just super profound, especially when it comes to the concept of time. The concept of time is a beautiful thing to follow, but when you start out, you're looking at the physical rigor of time. And as you progress through understanding how time fluctuates, how you can have moments of perceived control over said time, you start to recognize that it comes back to language, the way that you choose to have a relation with time through your words and thoughts. Can't get much deeper into it than that. But
Oh man, but I remember when you went into that.
yeah,
I was
still
super
there.
careful about how
Still
you
there. Most definitely. Yeah. Well, 'cause
Even from the beginning of the Bible, it's like in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was God, to be interpreted in so many different ways, but it's essentially speaking of time, the beginning, and resonance, the word.
the word started what time is because it set out that.
I've been in many circles that say that the first word was Om. But who knows? Maybe it was what's up?
No, gotta be what's that?
What it was like, hello?
Anyone there?
Mom?
Hola.
Do we want to read through the comments and see if anybody asked any questions or
I've been keeping up.
yeah?
Hello, Stephanie.
Are there any questions? Anybody want to type one in the
Anybody
chat?
have questions or things they want to add? Say to April while we got her here.
Throw them in, throw them out, throw them all about.
Bryson, my mom.
See that?
No, that's all I know from what you said.
Oh, I was like,
I can recognize my own little profile picture right there.
oh. These,
I think Brittany was watching, Camilla was watching.
Charlie was watching. Rick was watching. Yeah, I said Bryson. Brittany. Brayden.
One new
Paying
comment.
attention.
New comment.
One new comment. Thank you. Musical pattern.
You know, there's a lot of music videos that started putting some sacred geometry, crop circles.
So I'm really careful with the music videos that I
Up to you.
if you feel weird about the music video you're watching, question it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of symbology and hidden subliminals.
You feel like they transmit something when they're like worn or
Well, it's not so much more but like and like it's very real, you know, like you are subject to the frequency of the star that you're sure you are like putting up the trigger, so to speak. Whether that's through getting crystals that fight off the to having a state of mind. Like think about it. When you're going in for a serious conversation, you try to stand and focus yourself on your side of the conversation that you're ready to have feeling like you derailed, right? So I mean it's the same thing when you're going out and walking through energy, being focused and aware that hey, there's going to be a lot of energies coming at me, whether I take them on or I feel them, ignorance if they're not. I got to be aware to be able to put the barriers that keep me from taking on those frequencies. So when you're watching stuff like music videos, TV, and they're throwing subliminal messages out there, words are power. Words are spells. That's why it's called spelling. So what they're saying to you, what they're putting out there to you, directly connecting with their own love. So be mindful about what you invite.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to concerts where even before the band comes out, you can hear the frequency that they're blasting. And sometimes that's for good and sometimes it's not. But we're around so much vibration, even traffic or a jet engine, or I just recently moved to Lockwood and the refinery just like turns all night long, it shakes the ground, and then you have these like high pitched whistles and like airplanes flying over. One night I was feeling so sensory overloaded about it, and so I just took my phone and put on some solfeggio frequencies. I immediately felt better.
They say that there is a Mozart song for every sign of the zodiac. I checked into the one that was for Libra, and it was very much like I would not have out of all the classical music that I really enjoy listening to, wouldn't have been on my list. But boy, did it slap! I mean,
I'm curious. I'm curious what mine is.
yeah, I have no idea. That was
You want to pull one of these since you call everybody's sacred rebels?
sacred.
Weird. Yeah. Why not?
You want to show that? Yeah, so I brought some cards and Whitney introduced saying hello to the sacred rebels. So,
What are the chances that she has that Oracle card deck? The same name.
yeah. Yeah, so all of you lovely humans that have been here for this Facebook Live and are watching it on the replay, we're going to pull a card. And so I like to say I'm grounding into the center of the earth and let's connect you up then into the heart chakra, which comes down through the hands, and then connecting that channel all the way up above the head to the higher self or God or universe, whatever you perceive that higher power to be. Bringing it back into the heart, shuffling the deck. Marking credit and I lift him. That represents subconscious. And we've got the card, inspiration. This deck is amazing. The artist is Autumn Sky Morrison from Canada. She is beautiful incredible, prolific artist, and the author of this deck is Alana Fairchild, who has written so many decks.
I love the design in the hair. It's like its own brand.
Oh.
And then you can see it in the dots around her face. They are also part of that sacred geometry. You can see it at the bottom. Wow, what a card to pull.
So I'm just going to read the first little bit of this on here for time's sake.
Hold it there then while you're reading it.
Sure. An idea has captured your attention or will do so very soon. It may be a grand vision or a vague sense of something that could be. You are being encouraged to accept the vision, the idea, or the inspiration as it is important to your creative and spiritual growth. Also, it is possible. The bee is bringing you healing medicine wisdom from nature to aid the message of this oracle of inspiration. The bee is a powerful spirit totem. Bees are able to fly with wings that are significantly small in proportion to their heavier bodies.
Weird, we just talked about all this.
They can do so because of the sheer speed with which their wings move. Your idea, even if it seems like a big, substantial plan that might be difficult to, quote unquote, get off the ground and up and running, it can succeed. You will attract great helpers to you, and Earth will support the success of this project, idea, or vision because it is about helping the greater good, as well as your own growth and development. When the Earth Mother lends you nature wisdom to support your healing and growth, you know you have an exceptionally powerful ally to your cause. Let this bring you confidence. And if you've also drawn another card, you will feel this message amplified. Well, I think that we're going to amplify it.
What a card to pull. You know, I think that was my favorite like draw, if you will, the Oracle. I think a word that does it where they pull cards from the deck. But anyway, I love coincidental the cards get to be. It very much reminds me of busting out the Book of Mormon or the Bible and just flipping over that page and in a verse, reading it and seeing how it works. Yeah, yeah. You know? So and then to see it, like you are tapping into a field of consciousness, like collective consciousness. This is information that's available for anybody, provided they're willing to use intuition, be open and mindful.
I feel like being open is just the most important part of it.
And question,
Being open to what could be.
yeah, life is full of possibilities.
The wonder.
I mean, think about it for a second, you guys. We go through this path, and every choice we make has this ripple effect and allows us to see other potential pathways in our future. And we get to decide which ones that is, right? And as we go through this picking and choosing, we get more opportunities are open to us because we're operating from a state of clarity. So even though we're only just one person and we have one set of skills, whether it's 15, 5, or 2, that we get to hone in on, really grow. We have every possibility given to us in those areas because every timeline plays out. And since every timeline is playing out, all we have to do is align to the one that we want to see come to fruition. That's through your heart, through your mind, through your actions.
Based on the feel good. What might be what?
Exactly. And so as you get into your imagination, as you get into belief of self, faith in how the higher power directs you, it shows you how to surrender so you have more control in your life, that perceived control that you think you need to have, but you realize it's not what we think it is. Anyway, that's an accumulation of infinite possibilities. And it's all yours to have. So like have fun with life. Get curious. Get excited. Let yourself step into the uncomfortable things that seem hard because there's joy to be had accomplishing something that you didn't know you could.
Find and let live your passion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, April, thank you so much for pouring so much of your heart into this.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys so very much. And thank you for everyone who's tuned in and will tune in. And I hope that we can do this again.
Indubitably.
Yes. Sacred geometry may sound complex, but at its core, it's all about remembering the patterns that connect us all.
And remember, it starts with a simple pattern and then it becomes complex. So, start at your comfort level.
It is as simple and complex as you make it.
Yep. Start with the triangle. That's
From your little fingerprint to the petals on flower, to the way that we breathe,
to the
the way that we move through life.
to the circle crease.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Even further. I hope tonight sparks something in you. Let this be a little nudge to notice the magic around you, nature, in your own body, in the moments that you feel just right.
Magic is real.
Wonder out loud. Until next time, may you feel held by the shapes of the universe, and more than anything, may you trust that you are sacred heart.
Au revoir. Hasta luego.
Aloha.
Sayonara. Hasta la bye bye.
There's Andrea. You have so much to catch up on.